Hello, Wiffle Nation, and welcome to the 20th episode of the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Smith. With me is co-host
Good to be back, Greg Sowards.
and producer.
Jeremy Litton.
On this episode of the podcast, we're going to be discussing the NWA tournament and our potential return on the regional bracket, the bracket of the all-time franchises in the past 5 years of our league that we're going to be discussing at great length today to determine hypothetically who we believe the best team to have ever played in the league is. And then we're going to be discussing for a little bit about Jeremy Litton's trip abroad to spread the word about wiffle ball in Europe.
Hello, hello, hello.
I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I personally am not going back to the NWA tournament on my own, but I've never actively said, hey, we're not sending a team anymore. It's just not going to be my doing. So Patrick Rail has taken upon himself to build an NWA tournament team for the qualifying round. We don't know where it's going to be yet. It could be in New York City. It could be in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. It could be in St. Louis, Missouri. Or it could be in southeastern Michigan. So if he can get a team that could actually go there, we have a guaranteed spot if we qualify in the actual NWA tournament, which is in Columbus. So the most driving we're going to have to do is during the qualifying round. So our league does plan and has signed up to participate in the 2016 NWLA regionals. So that's the first time we'll be back till 2014. Greg, hypothetically, we are way out. We are nowhere near beginning. We're in the infantile stages. I don't think I can break it down any further. We have no idea who's going to be on this team. Patrick's going to be the manager. He'll play if he has to, I imagine. And
I'll play if I have to.
Yeah. So let's take a second. We only had 5 teams show up, and I just want to stick to existing active players. You know, people like Drew McClanahan, Ryan Pritt, and others. Nick Crapper no longer lives in the area. Some of our best players have ever played in the league no longer are active. Either they've moved away or they're busy with jobs or they can't get here on the weekends. So out of the people that we know are going to be playing or have played already, let's take like 5 people that we think could hack it up in Columbus or wherever we're going to go first.
Number one, I think it has to be Jeremy Ray, best pitcher last year. He's a good pitcher the year before. Pretty decent hitter. So he's a good leader for the team.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Andrew Westcott. They're a good 1-2 punch with pitching. Andrew does not have nearly the amount of stamina that Jeremy Ray has, but he can get it to the zone, and he's pretty fast, and he doesn't have much movement, but he's pretty consistent and accurate. He's one of the best hitters in the league, and he can definitely hit the fastball. I mean, he hit off of Jacob Fisher, he hit off of Nick Capra, he's hit off all these really fast pitchers in the league. They're not Ryan Bush, you know. They're not all these different Chris Harley. They're not anybody that throws nearly as fast, but I think he could hack it.
My next guy would have to be James Clegg. You know, he's been to the tournament before. He's played in it. He's a natural talent. He's an athlete.
Yeah, he hasn't played in like 3 years, and then he just showed up and walked on your team, and it's like nothing happened. He was right where he left off.
Great. He was in sweatpants, I think.
Yeah.
Fielding the ball, hitting the ball.
I talked to him, and he said, it's like, I'm just going to pick up right where I left off.
He did.
Yeah. And next, I'm going to stick with where we're at with a returning NWA team member. I would go with just Randy Steele, Soup. Where he may lack a little bit in ability, he is great for morale on a team. You know he has your back. He's not going to put up with anybody's shit. If you run into any trouble, he is there. He's just very calm. He's probably one of the calmest players I've ever seen. And he's good for binding a team together. I think he'd be a good addition to return if I had to pick.
The number 5 guy I got right now, we've only seen him play once, but he hit the ball a mile during this last tournament. From what I hear, he's pretty athletic. Don't really know his real name, but his name, they call him Boomer.
Right there alone, makes a team. Boom, in my eyes.
Single name, Madonna.
Yeah.
Greatest people in history have single names.
It's notorious. It's
Boomer.
like Bo Jackson. But all we can do right now is speculate on who could possibly make the team. We're going to interview Patrick Rail, the commish and manager of our potential team, to see if he will give us any insight on who we can possibly expect to be in the early stages of possibly making this team. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the fantasy bracket that I was previewing to in the last episode when we come back.
If I fall along the way, pick me up and dust me off.
All right, so a couple months ago, I started kicking around the idea of who's the best team that has ever played in this league, if I had to say. And I decided, you know what? Let's figure it out. So I made a bracket of 27 teams. Those are the regular season franchises in the past 4 seasons. From the worst team, like Plain White Tees, to arguably one of the best teams, the undefeated 2014 Breaking Balls. And instead of going by win-loss records, since everybody's played different amounts of games throughout the years, I decided to go by winning percentage. The top 3 teams got a bye because of the odd number for the bracket. The 2014 Breaking Balls had the number 1 seed. The 2015 Sit On My Base team had a number 2 seed. And the 2012 Beaver Fever team had a number 3 seed. 2 of those 3, or actually one of those 3, the Beaver Fever team, were a championship team that won that year. The other 2 either finished runners-up or did not make the championship at all.
Boo.
So having a good regular season doesn't always translate to postseason domination. So those are the 3 teams that have a bye. So let's just take this apart game by game in the bracket. We'll try to make it as quick as possible so that we not drag on. Greg, you've seen every game that's ever been played that you haven't been participating in and been able to watch. So you know these teams very intimately, right?
Yes. I played against all of them.
We've done stats on them. I've had tons of videos on them. I talk them up during NWA award ceremony time. So, I mean, we've had some really good teams and some really good players and the opposite. So let's match it up here. The first round, we should knock out. It's the worst versus the best. Game 1, 2014 Wiffle Ballers versus the 2015 Wiffle and Dixie team. Who do you got?
I got the Wiffle and Dixie team. We have Mike McCoy, who I believe was 2nd or 3rd in home runs.
Home run derby winner.
He was the home run derby winner. The Wiffle Ballers, they had some pitching, but they didn't have the offensive numbers. I think we would have squeaked out more runs than them as a team and beat them after 5 innings.
Yeah, the long and short of it, I agree. I think the Wiffle and Dixie team would win. I will apologize a million times. Of any picks I ever had before a season, I was the most wrong about the Wiffle and Dixie team. Stephanie Sadler captained this team. She brought a team out for fall ball. It's the only female player that I've ever played with that actually had the tenacity to put a team together 2 years in a row. Steven Atkins, one of the fastest pitchers we've ever had in the league, just did not have the control. Offense didn't back him up. He get frustrated. The team kind of fell apart halfway through the year, but just kept showing up, but had no harmony. And not just the strike, but I just don't think they would have had the firepower to outcompete Mike McCoy.
No.
He was a home run hitting machine. So Wiffle and Dixie, the number 17 seed would top the number 16 seed Wiffle Ballers to play the Breaking Balls in the second round. Second game, the 2014 Honey Badgers, the number 9 seed, versus the 24 seed, the 2014 Green Bears. Who do you got?
The only issue with that is which Honey Badgers team are we talking about? Are we talking about the ones that won the championship or the team that fell apart midway through the year? The championship team was technically illegal because half the team was not on the original.
I'm tired of people bringing that up. It was voted in favor by a majority on the captain's search. People had a chance, and like, oh, we want to seem like assholes. Like, if it wasn't up for a vote, that's your chance to look like an asshole.
But what are we talking about here? Are we talking about
just any incarnation of the team? Do you think they would have had what it took to beat the 2014 Green Bears? I say yes.
Yes.
We did not hit worth a shit. We had decent pitching. You were pitching pretty good. That was my pinnacle year as a pitcher, and we just never hit the ball.
Now,
it was all Mikey's fault.
Considering we're talking about these teams after the fact, you have to go with the latest version of that team, which would be the team that won the championship.
Untouchable. There's no way the Green Bears could have touched.
No, we couldn't have beat them.
No, it would have been a mercy rule game in 3 innings.
We could have stretched it to 5.
Yeah. All right, I'll agree with that. But in any event, the number 9 seed would topple the 24 seed, and the Honey Badgers would go on to the second round.
Yes.
Next game, the 2015 Black Sheep Wiffle team, formerly known as Bag Tag, number 8 seed, versus the 25 seed, the 2013 Welfare Warriors. Close game. Who you got?
Whoa.
You want to chime in on this?
Clearly.
Captain of the 2013 Welfare Warriors, Jamie Litton.
Welfare Warriors would have triumphed in any event.
Had they shown up.
You're not playing the Terrorhawks. There's no hope here.
If they would have shown up, maybe.
Yeah, which team? You had like 10 players.
Yes, which team indeed.
You had 10 different players. You have the largest regular season franchise by a long shot of any team in the history of this league.
I will take everyone but Troy Twisdale.
Okay.
Because
funny story, I got a message from Luke Davis wanting to play. I haven't responded back.
We actually discussed that. Luke promised to be good with a new team. Like,
is he going to build a team?
He's thinking about it.
That'd be great. I'm open to it.
He's
I
thinking
like
about creating a Kroger League team and or one based off of who would have been myself and a few other friends.
You would play again?
With Luke, not with Troy and Luke.
Troy lives in Indiana now.
I know, thank God.
Yeah.
So I think that team
that's like
would
a
have
4-hour drive. He could make it.
He'd make it just a heckle.
Yeah.
Troy.
It's on Saturdays.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it, Troy. If you listen to this.
All right, back to what's
we're
important.
bleeding time here. I'll go first.
Black Sheep Wiffle would have
No
had
fucking way. No fucking way. I mean, it's over. Sorry, Mom. There's just no way.
Screw you, Josh.
Black Sheep Wiffle would not only win this game, they'd hit about 30 home runs and then get pissed if you go, that's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
3 innings, kill
Next
it.
game.
Number 8 seed would go on to play the Honey Badgers in this case from 2014. The next game. The
Honey Badgers after
defeating the Green Bears. That's the second round.
Oh, okay.
Roll with me here.
Gotcha. I'll let you
know. There's a 4th team that got a bye. I forgot to mention. The 2013 Maroon Squad championship team. They got a bye. 4 teams got a bye. 4th game. The 13 seed 2015 Asthmatics. Good squad. Versus the 20 seed, the 2013 Terrorhawks. Give me your answer.
Asthmatics.
Just do we even need to go into depth?
You
the
guys.
2012 and 2013 Terrorhawks were terrible. They were fun teams to play on.
You guys would have quit after 2 innings.
We would have quit. We just would have lost a heart.
No, I think Daryl would really have shined against that team, though.
Yeah. Paul Hessen is incredibly hard to hit off of. He really had his accuracy on where he struggled in 2014. He had to step up because he was the primary pitcher. Josiah Chapman hits the ball further than anybody else I've ever seen hit a wiffle ball.
Except for maybe Boomer.
Boomer definitely got a hold of him, but I'm talking in a fast pitch format, Josiah Chapman is lights out. Veronica Stanley won Rookie of the Year. Samaya did not slouch at all. She would have been great on the London team. So Asthmatics would advance to play the Maroon Squad in the next round. Game 5, number 12 seed, number 14, the 2014 Wee Willie Wiffle team versus the 21 seed, the 2012 Turtles.
That'd be Wee Willie.
Wee Willie Wiffle.
The Turtles weren't serious. They were kids.
They played like 8 games. Yeah. Mikey Saxton's only franchise he ever ran by himself.
It was fairly successful, though.
Wee Willie Wiffle would advance past the 21 seed to play the number 5 seed, the championship 2015 Breaking Balls, who also had a bye. 5 teams that had a bye, not 3. I don't know why I keep saying that.
You are horrible at math.
I am horrible at math. So we're on the other side of the bracket now, if you're following along. The number 15 seed, the 2013 Beaver Fever squad. You guys finished what, like 500 that year? About.
About.
And they would be playing the 18th seed, the 2014 Bag Tag squad. Who you got?
I got our team. We played some tough competition that year with the Maroon squad and the Holy Balls.
I'm going to go with Greg's team also.
I think we could have beat Bag Tag.
I went with Bag Tag in this case.
I think Bag Tag would have went home crying.
They hit the ball better. I think your team had the better pitching, but I think hitting in the end would probably.
I think they would have cried over the pitching.
Both these teams are medium pitch teams. That's kind of their. Nobody had an ace. You had Zach Blatt, Brandon Woolham did all right. Woolham had a better 2014 pitching season, but for some reason Zach Blatt had this mile-wide curveball that nobody wanted to swing at that caught up a lot of people looking. I think that would have kind of been an advantage. True. They also hit the ball very hard, and they are the most aggressive base running team I've ever seen. I think it would have been a close game, but I'm thinking a couple runs. Bag Tag's got this.
I disagree.
Agree or disagree? If Bag Tag won, that would put them up against the number 2 seed, the 2015 seed on my base team that got a bye, or Beaver Fever, however you want to look at it. I got Bag Tag. Next game, the number 10 seed, the 2012 Honey Badgers, who finished runner-up that year, versus the 23 seed, the 2015 Huntington Wifflers. Where do you even begin here?
I would begin to say the Wifflers wouldn't show up.
Well,
same.
Even if half of them didn't show up, they're playing a two-person team.
Well,
at this point, you have to start looking at the numbers.
Not technically, because by the end of that year, they were a three-person team.
Yeah,
so.
David Dillon did show up, but he did not hit worth a crap that first year at all. In fact, he was more of a debit than a credit for that team.
The pitching ability of Josh versus the Wifflers.
But you have people – Zach Sturgill showed up a great deal at the time, was a freaking god when it comes to hitting.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't think the Wifflers would show up.
Let's say 3 of the 8 Wifflers show up. I'm going with Wifflers just because they hit the ball better. Nobody has any altering injuries. All 3 of the Honey Badgers had knee problems.
The only thing I will give you is the Honey Badgers' inability to run the bases would probably hinder them.
And they always had trouble. They had no power hitting, and with the running issue, they never put that many runs on the board.
Right.
That's what ultimately cost them a championship. Kyle Hetrick hit was it a grand slam or a couple runs?
It was a grand slam.
It's a grand
followed
slam.
By
and
a home run by me.
It just killed it. There's no way they were going to hit that.
Right there.
No way they were going to hit that, and they didn't have momentum to bring them in around. They just can't. They didn't have that ability. I'm thinking Wifflers.
If the Wifflers showed up, I would say that too.
Okay. Next game. Yeah, let's do it. Next game. The 7 seed 2013 Holy Balls team, runner-up that year, versus the 26 seed, the 2012 Owls. Do you remember the Owls?
I remember one game against the Owls.
That was a team of our wives.
Yes.
And one of your coworkers' girlfriends.
Yeah.
It was an all-girls team.
I believe it was 4 games.
They went 0-4 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not even really a game here. 2013 Holy Balls, older guys, but they crushed the ball, had good pitching.
Great team.
If they were 10 years younger, we're talking definitely championship team material.
Oh, yeah.
They would do very well in our current format.
Full strength against the Maroon squad that game, I think they would have won. They were not full strength when they played the Maroon squad in the championship.
The first round of the playoffs, they had their strongest players there.
Yeah.
They just didn't take it very seriously, and that's fine. I loved them for it. But let's just say they definitely advanced to the next round. In this case, in my bracket, playing the 2015 Wifflers. Number 3 seed, Beaver Fever from the inaugural season. They have a bye. Next game after that, the 14 seed, 2015 Chicken and Wiffles, finished around 500, versus the 19 seed, the 2012 Terrahawks. Let's talk about it.
Let's not. That's
Chicken and Wiffles.
Chicken and Wiffles all the way.
The 2012 Terrahawks team they had the biggest roster.
Terrible
Hawks. Yes.
Terrible Hawks.
2013 wasn't much better, but we had a hell of a good time that season. That team, it was just me, Jeremy Litton, and a couple other guys sometimes. Just not even a contest here. We had Jacob Fisher on this team. Rick Patterson hit pretty well. He was a decent number 2 pitcher. I pitched well at the first half of that season at the very least. I didn't get much opportunity in the second half. Long story short, 14 seed advances over the 19 seed Chicken Wiffles, which will be playing Beaver Fever in the following round. The 10th game in the first round here, the number 11, 2013 Pink Penguins, the third place team from that year, versus the 22 seed, the 2014 Poker Night team, a team that always had a lot of potential but just never could make it work.
I think there would be a lot of laughs in that game.
Hell yeah.
A lot of jokes. But in the end, definitely the Pink Penguins.
Poker Night had the offense, but Thelmer Dameron, great pitcher, one side Wiffle that year. And he had a medium pitch style and a lot of arc. I think he would be a god in this format we have now. He could make it work. I've been trying to get into contact with that team, and they haven't contacted me back. I would love to see the Pink Penguins and the Holy Balls both make a comeback. I've got probably a 5-run difference here. I mean, neither team has a very strong offense. That's why the Pink Penguins ultimately never did well. Ryan Miller was a hell of a hitter. But you had other guys that just let Thelmer down. Thelmer was a pretty average or upper average offensive player. And pitching takes it out of you. So,
well, Thelmer also had to miss quite a few games due to his work schedule. So that really hurt that team as well. I'm
calling Penguins here by at least 5 runs.
At least.
The final game in the first round, the number 6 seed, the 2014 Sit On My Base team, runner-up that year. They've been runner-up 2 years in a row. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Versus the versus the very bottom seed, the 2015 Plain White Tees team. There we've had a lot of horrible teams. We've had the 0-22 Wiffle Warriors. We've had the 0-4 Owls. We've had, I think, the Terrahawks finished pretty terrible in 2013. They weren't the worst. But as far as win percentage goes and run differential, which it came down to between them and Welfare Warriors, who was worse, just for the simple fact that Plain White Tees didn't win a single game, they are, hands down, the worst performing franchise. And that's a shame. Andy Hill's a hell of a guy.
You know what, though? The Welfare Warriors walked out on some of their games.
Plain White Tees showed up for the beating every week. I mean, and I love them for it.
If
respect.
Let me say this about the difference between Plain White Tees and Welfare Warriors. Welfare Warriors,
black shirts and white shirts?
No. Welfare Warriors forfeited probably about 6 games.
Sure.
If they had played those 6 games, they would have given up just as many runs as Plain White Tees.
No.
I'm sure of it. Positive.
No contest in this case. By a 3-run mercy, Sit On My Base would advance to play the 2013 Pink Penguins in the next round. So let's go back to the left side of the bracket and start the second round here. Let's start going quick. Number 1 seed, Breaking Balls from 2014, playing the 2015 Whiffling Dixie team. I would say it would have its moments. Mike McCoy is a hell of a hitter, and he hit very well for Drew McClanahan in 2015, but this is not the same Drew McClanahan from 2014.
That may be true.
And they had Matt Gordon hitting very well, hit 25 home runs that year.
One thing you have to really look at when you're talking about these games, the higher seed should have home field advantage, therefore playing their style from their year, So you're going to get playing in a game from 45 feet to the zone for Drew McClanahan where he dominated.
Yeah.
Because,
I'll give you 5 innings. Mike McCoy keeps you in it. Mikey Saxton did pretty good that year. You did very well last year. But in the end, 2014 Drew McClanahan, and then you got Ryan Pritt in the backfield. He also pitched some that year. You had
it would also depend on if every member of the Breaking Balls team showed up.
Yeah, if you're going to have some automatic outs.
That would also give us a little bit of advantage.
Well, ultimately cost them their shot at the championship, in my opinion.
Indeed it did.
So I'm calling Breaking Balls
I
5
agree.
innings.
I agree.
That's respectable.
5 innings.
Round after that, the 2014 Honey Badgers versus the 2015 Black Sheep Wiffle. I'm calling Honey Badgers. You got Jacob Fisher. You've got Paul Hessen.
You're talking about 2014
Honey
Badgers at the top of their game. They won a championship. They beat a hell of a good Sit On My Base team. They beat a really good team that we just talked about in the Breaking Balls, which we're talking about a rematch coming up in our bracket. So I believe Honey Badgers all the way.
Yep. We're talking Black Sheep Wiffle. They never had the pitching there. Steven Atkins didn't play enough. Brandon Woolham, though, he really turned it around. I was not expecting him. He had such a freaking weird delivery. and had such weird method to his pitching. They did quite well. Hitting, oh, my God, the best hitting team in the league. But it ultimately comes down to pitching here for me, and they definitely weren't slouching in the hitting department with the Badgers. So they would advance to play the 2014 Breaking Balls, a semifinal rematch. On down, the championship squad of 2013 versus the 2015 Asthmatics. This would be a very good game with a lot of home runs and crazy base running. What do you think?
It would be a good game. Again, we have to go back to home team advantage, so we're going to play
Squad.
with the big black bat in those games.
I didn't think about that, but I'll roll with it. I'm thinking about in any universe at all, I just think discipline of the squad as overall athletics. Athletes.
I think in the end, when you add in home field advantage to the Maroon squad here, playing in their element the way they played that year, the games they lost 2 games that year.
Close games, too.
Close games.
And it's because they just
I would hate to say that maybe in both of them, half their team was intoxicated those days.
Yeah.
No actual proof, but
I just think a lot of times the Aztecs made mistakes because they had at least 2 of the people on their team at any given time they didn't have a lot. If they did have any baseball or softball background, it wasn't a lot.
Right.
And these guys, they're very smart ball players on the Maroon squad. I think that experience and tenacity would definitely carry through, and they would advance in.
Also, the attitude between the 2 different teams. Maroon squad was there to win a championship.
Yeah.
Asthmatics, they were kind of a funner, looser team.
Yeah.
Even Paul Helson, as serious of a competitor as he was,
they balanced well.
He was still kind of loose that year. I think they would have ultimately lost to the Maroon squad.
This next game, I have a star on it, a very interesting matchup. The 2014 Wee Willie Wiffle team. That's a team, again, had a lot of potential, but a lot of variables just kept them quite from capitalizing on. They were paper tigers, but they just never could quite make it happen.
I would like to point out a commissioner's ruling is what sort of screwed over Wee Willie.
Let's wait for the interview with Patrick to let him expand on it because we have neither the time and we don't want to tread on the same ground twice. So they would be playing the 2015 Breaking Balls team. Who you got, Greg?
2015 Breaking Balls.
Easy.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
There were some weak spots in that
That's
Wee
what you
Willie
did
Wiffle.
Hold on. The 2015 Breaking Balls were not as good
They
as
cut the fat.
2014.
They cut the fat. I'll say it. Jeff Ryder, awesome guy. Nick Scala, I'd do anything for that man. But they didn't really play this year, and that's why I think they ultimately won the championship and did as well as they did in the postseason. They only lost a couple games, and it was to a team that almost went undefeated. They didn't lose to anybody else except my team and sit on my base.
And they lost to your team on a technicality. I believe that was a home run at the end of the game.
I don't even remember that game. I was excited.
I think the commissioners were trying to rob them again. Is that was
very possible?
Okay. I got the 2015 Breaking Balls advancing. In this case, they'd be playing the 2013 Maroon Squad. 2 championship teams facing off. Other side of the bracket, second round. Here we go. Number 2, 2015 Sit on My Base to have a bye, playing the 2014 Bag Tag team. No contest. No contest. Sit on My Base from that year regularly beat an arguably better version of the 2014 Bag Tag team, which is Black Sheep Wiffle. So I see no reason why they wouldn't steamroll 2014 Bag Tag, as much respect as I have.
Who won? Next
game, 2015 Wifflers versus the 2013 Holy Balls. I'm calling Holy Balls in this game.
Holy Balls easy.
The reason you said the Wifflers, did they have a team or not? And the Holy Balls played very well.
Very consistent.
Yeah, when they did play, they were very good. And they were power hitters and had decent pitching. They really were a triple threat. Just they were older guys and didn't run as fast. Up next, the championship 2012 Beaver Fever team versus 2015 Chicken and Wiffles. I already know your opinion on this. Go ahead and give it.
Home field advantage. You got to go with how you're going to have to play the game. In 2012, we only used one fielder with the pitcher on a 70-degree field, so you're taking away almost half the field to hit on. I just feel like that would have been the difference maker.
I don't know.
We played 2 outs then.
I just think Chicken and Wiffles because all of our team showed up regularly. Jacob Fisher is the better pitcher out of the matchup there. we didn't slouch on fielding. We were our own worst enemies. The team around us was not great halfway through the season, and it carried through. I'd say it goes all 5 innings. I personally call chicken and wiffles on this, but it doesn't really matter because I don't think they advance past that point, whoever it is.
If it makes you feel any better, Josh, I heart chicken and wiffles.
Awesome. Next game, 2013 Pink Penguins, third-place team that year, versus the 2014 runner-up, Sit on My Base. I'm calling Sit on My Base on this game. Home field advantage, fast pitch, 45 feet, a very overbearing Sit on My Base team. A lot of people think they really should have won the championship. Nobody predicted them to be in the championship that year. They thought this is going to – well, they did. They thought they were going to play breaking balls. Breaking balls were going to take it. So – in the end, they kind of fulfilled that prophecy, but a lot of people feel they should have been a championship team that year. I'm just thinking.
Yes.
I think Sit on Base would have had it. I think they could have taken the whole championship if they didn't have some weak links on that team.
I think if somebody hadn't just given them a game, maybe they would have gone further.
So, I mean, they advanced to a championship under some controversial circumstances that Patrick will no doubt go into detail on. All right. We are in the quarterfinals now. 2014 Breaking Balls versus the 2014 Honey Badgers. We've seen that game.
We know who wins.
Let's just cut the shit. 2014 Honey Badgers. If you don't know why, read. Next game, 2013 Championship Maroon Squad versus the 2015 Championship Breaking Balls team. We got fire and ice here. Some of the best pitching versus some of the best hitting. We're calling, when it comes down to that, best pitching always wins.
It does.
Breaking Balls. They would advance to play the 2014 Honey Badgers in the semifinals. Other side of the bracket, 2015 Sit on My Base runner-up team versus the 2013 runner-up Holy Balls. Who you got?
This is a very tough game.
It's probably the best game in the
I
quarterfinals.
think the youth of Sit on My Base would take over the very evenly matched teams, but in the end, Holy Balls would get some outs because they wouldn't be able to make it to first.
Better pitching, too. We're talking about
Yes.
We're talking about even if you take out Nick Capper, we're talking Scott Westcott did very well. Andrew Westcott wasn't a slouch. Jeremy Ray won Cy Wiffle that year. I mean, it's just – and when Brent Thompson wasn't pitching, Kevin Lawrence, he did okay, but it wasn't nothing to write home about, So I think the pitching and Sit on My Base had great offense that year. They were just – on all sides. Sit on My Base advances to the semis. 2015, Chicken and Wiffles, or 2012, Beater Fever, however you want to look at it, versus the 2014 Sit on My Base team.
Easy.
No way. Sit on My Base.
Yeah.
They would advance to play themselves from the consequential year. Semifinal from the left side of the bracket, 2014 Championship Honey Badgers team versus the 2015 Championship Breaking Balls team. This is a killer matchup. Who you got?
I believe wholeheartedly the Breaking Balls, since they cut the fat, would have mopped the floor with the Honey Badgers.
This is tough. I kind of just sort of went with my gut. I went with Honey Badgers on this. We're going with the youth here. Even this past year, I was impressed with how long, even with the rotation rules, that Drew McClanahan can go. But the point is, there's nobody who could pitch as fast or as well as Drew once he stepped down. Ryan does what he can. Paul is a fairly capable pitcher when you put him in there. He actually started in the championship game in 2014 and pitched 2-3 innings and then was taken out. And he did quite well. He didn't leave because he was sucking. So, I mean,
it was just their game plan.
Yeah, I just think that 1-2 punch was enough to maybe top over the 2015 Breaking Balls because Matt Gordon wasn't really a big factor. Rob Stewart wasn't there half the time, so there's a 50% chance Rob Stewart's not in this game. So for that reason, I'm thinking Honey Badgers. Other side of the bracket semifinal, 2015 Sit on My Base versus the 2014 Sit on My Base, two runner-up teams.
So, wait.
More or less the same players, except the 15 team didn't have Brad Washburn. And I think that's what you're probably thinking.
Not only that, but Jeremy Ray stepped his pitching up in 2015.
He did.
Beyond
yeah.
what he did in 2014.
He was a rookie in 2014 and did astoundingly well in the NCAA tournament that year. He carried our team.
Yes. But what he did
games.
in 2015 in our league, no comparison to what he did in 2014.
He broke the league. We had to change the format.
Yeah. All right.
So, Sit on My Base from 2015 advancing in a championship versus – can we agree on the 2014 Honey Badgers?
I will give you the Honey Badgers because maybe someone from Breaking Balls gets hurt in a championship
So just
game.
this far, do you think this is probably representative of the two best teams that we've
Probably.
ever had in our league? Okay. So who do you think out of the 2015 Summit Base team and the 2014 Honey Badgers team? Honey Badgers won the championship in 2014. Summit Base has been runner-up twice. Do you think they finish runner-up again in this situation?
My gut from seeing Sit on My Base play in 4 different championship
Locations.
appearances. You know how many championships Sit on My Base has?
Hang on, let me count.
0.
Oh,
They
heartless.
were runner-ups in the High Wiffle tournament. They lost that. They were runner-ups last month in our inaugural
preseason tournament.
They were runner-ups 2014, 2015, runner-ups in our fantasy bracket. They're destined to be runner-ups. It should be on the jersey.
So
We need to get Jeremy Ray's input on this when we call
yeah,
him. I personally picked 2015 still my base. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, the championship game, we had to stop in the 4th inning because it just poured the rain. And then we weren't playing on the same field anymore. I mean, it was the same location.
It was in China.
Yeah, it was there were mud holes for the batters' boxes. The pitcher's mound was
It was
unrecognizable.
a rice field from China.
Yeah, and breaking balls, I can't remember if they had the lead or if it was still a tie game.
No, they took the lead after the
Yeah,
rainfall.
they got on a run. It wasn't a big scoring game, but then I think just Drew McClanahan wanted it more. He didn't get his championship last year. He didn't get shot the title because of that shot that David Dillon did in 2014. I think he just wanted it more. I think he knew he wasn't going to be playing anymore after 2015, and he just wanted it more, and he won it. But I think Sit on My Base in this situation had the better team over the 2014 Honey Badgers team.
You know, this is a debate that we could have 1,000 times, and both of us would probably sit on either side of the fence 500 times each.
Yeah, we could switch
I mean,
positions. I
the
say the
more we
2015 Summit Base team. You say 2014 Honey Badgers team.
I say my experience with any Sit on My Base team in a championship type situation, they blew it every time. Four chances, no rings.
That's a valid point. I'm still sticking with my guns here. Jeremy, any input?
Welfare Warriors. They would have made it in a realistic bracket.
When we come back, we go global with Jeremy Litton's trip to Europe as an ambassador for wiffle ball abroad.
About the attitude I need to give when I'm with you, but no one else will take this from me. And I'm so terrified of no one else but me. I'm here all the time. I won't go away. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, well, I can't get myself to go away. Hey, it's me. And I can't get myself to go away. Oh God, I shouldn't feel this way now. Reach down your hand in your pocket, pour out some hope for me. It's been a long day.
Hello, Wiffle Nation. Scratch that. Wiffle World. This is Jeremy Litton coming to you live from Meteora. With me is my tour guide, Spiro. How are you, Spiro?
Hi.
Well, hi to you too, Spiro. So we were talking earlier about our trip, and everything was really exciting. I'm glad to be here.
Nay.
Nay?
Nay.
Nay. Then for you out there in the world, nay means yes in Greek.
Nay.
See, nay. Now, Spiro, you were wondering what a wiffle ball was when I pulled it out to take a picture. Did you know what wiffle ball was before?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Did you know what baseball was prior to us coming here?
Nay.
Nay? Well, he knew what baseball was. So, tell me, have you ever watched baseball?
No.
Any desire to play it?
No.
Any desire to play in a wiffle ball league or even start one here in Athens? Back in Athens.
No.
Okay. Did you play sports in your youth?
No. No.
No.
The goat.
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 Chasing goats or
Nay.
nay? Oh, okay. Okay. And do you like being a tour guide?
Oh, how do you say? No, no, no.
Then why are you a tour guide?
Yes.
Okay, well, that is a very productive interview, everyone. Again, I would like to thank our guest, Spiro, for joining me for this interview. And thank you for your time, Spiro.
No.
Okay. Talk to you later, Wiffle World.
No.
Staring at the ceiling, making friends with shadows on my wall. All night, hearing voices telling me that I should get some sleep, because tomorrow might be good for something. Hold on, feeling like I'm headed for a breakdown, and I don't know why, but I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell. I know right now you can't tell, but stay a while and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy, I'm just a little impaired. I know.
Thrilling interview, Jeremy. That was
Hey,
pretty
what can I
compelling
say?
stuff.
He was a very interesting character. He reminded me of the soup Nazi off Seinfeld a little bit.
Yeah.
We were wanting to actually pay him at one point to yell, "No soup for you."
Yeah. I'm not expecting to see a wiffle ball league pop up in Athens anytime soon.
Something tells me you're right.
Yeah.
Even though there would be a lot of good spots for it.
For sure. So, let's talk a little bit about the trip in general. I remember we were playing in our March tournament the weekend before you left
Right.
to go abroad. Now, you asked me a bizarre question. You're like, can I have a wiffle ball and a wiffle ball bat? And don't ask me why. And then I said, why do you need that? And then you told me, I'm going to take them to Europe and I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. Now, there used to be a guy, I forget which website it was in the late 90s. I think it was Major League Wiffle Ball. He used to take a bat and ball with him on his trips around the world and just take pictures of them. And I remembered that as you asked me, and I said, you know what? Let's go for it. And I remember when I wrote for the Whiffler's Digest, for a brief time, you couldn't take a wiffle ball bat after 9/11 on an airplane, and then a couple years ago, they allowed them back on there. So, how do you even pack up a wiffle ball bat in general?
You don't. Well, the suitcase I had and have still, it's fairly small, so when I tried to get the wiffle ball bat into it, I put it in catty cornered, and then whenever I pulled it out, once I got to Athens, it was bent in half. So needless to say, the wiffle ball bat did not make the return.
So less of a bat and more of a boomerang.
Yeah, it turned into a boomerang.
Okay, so I'm looking at some of your pictures here. I don't want to give away too much because you're supposed to have an article hit the website by the end of the month here. We've got the Parthenon here, a stadium from the 1896 Olympics, the Temple of Apollo, Temple of Delphi, St. Stephen's Monastery here, the Duomo Bell Tower, Tower of Pisa, and just wiffle balls are in all of them. So what kind of looks do people give you when you're taking pictures with wiffle balls?
To be quite frank, what the fuck are you taking a picture of a wiffle ball for? I got a lot of those looks. Some of the other looks I got is, what is that? A lot of the people that were in the U.S. just didn't know what it was. I had one of the older chaperones of one of the other groups walk up to me and go, "Why are you taking a picture of a wiffle ball?" I'm like, well, it's never really been done before, and everyone takes pictures of gnomes. Screw gnomes. I'm taking a wiffle ball. So that's why that's some of the reactions I got. The tour guide, Spiro, was very interesting with it. He thought it was a air freshener. They don't play wiffle ball in Greece, really.
Yeah.
So.
And I understand that you have blessed balls, is it?
Well, yes, actually. Let me tell you about my blessed balls. When we were in the Vatican, in Rome. It's the year of the Mercy Jubilee, and whenever you go through the doors that have been touched by the Pope, those doors have been blessed. So anyone that walks through is cleared of all sin and automatically blessed just by walking through the doors. And I didn't quite believe it at first, but that's what a couple of Catholic friends were telling me. And I had to ask them, so you're telling me cleared of all sin and blessed? They're like, yes, that's how it works. I'm waiting for the commercial. That's not how it works. That's not how any of it works.
Because they were so previously tainted.
Yeah, right. So then, I see what you did. So then, does that include all my stuff? They're like, well, I guess so. It would be blessed too. It walked with you. So I had 2 wiffle balls with me at all times, just in case one got lost, especially after we went 2,200 feet at Meteora, and I almost lost one of the wiffle balls over the cliff, at the monastery. So I have 2 blessed balls.
I'm holding them right now.
I mean, seriously, they are the literal definition of holy balls. Not to mention, they were also at Meteora at St. Stephen's Cathedral, or St. Stephen's Monastery, and they were blessed there too.
Thrice blessed balls.
Because there was actually holy water there, and when I touched,
Did you get them wet?
Yes, I did. I did get my balls wet, and at a monastery.
That's not the first time that's happened.
I'm going to hell. Anyway, so yes, the wiffle balls that I did take to Europe and bring back are blessed, and they are holy at this point.
I forgive you for breaking the bat now.
Yeah, I mean,
who gets their balls blessed 3 times? And wet,
tell me about it.
It's got to be some sort of record. So all in all, it sounds like a pretty productive trip. Where else do you want to take your balls?
I think I want to take my balls to Japan next. In Europe, they don't really play baseball. They don't really play wiffle ball. But Japan, they love baseball. So I think there's a better chance of A, less stairs when I take out the wiffle ball. B, they'll know what a wiffle ball is. And maybe I can even get a wiffle ball league started in Japan.
Maybe. And there's also a fantastic photo op of maybe getting a Godzilla to hold a wiffle ball.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Are you going to take the same balls? Those have got to be special balls.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to put those on a shrine, Josh.
Yeah.
In the HWL Hall of Fame.
People have to pay admission to see that.
Yeah, they are blessed.
Are they still wet?
No, the holy water evaporated. Yeah.
Typical. Well, sounds like a pretty great trip. Sad I didn't get to go, but we're going to have an article up about your trip on the website at www.huntingtonwiffleball.com by the end of April. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be right back to close out the show after this quick break.
Well, I wonder what it's like to be the rainmaker. I wonder what it's like to know that I made the rain. I'd store it in boxes with little yellow tags on every one. And you could come and see that.
With me is Jeremy Ray and Patrick Rail, the commissioner, for further analysis of the fantasy bracket. We're here with them to get some differing opinions. I say the 2015 Cinema Base team is the best team to have ever played in franchise history in this league. Greg says the 2014 Honey Badgers are the best team to ever play in franchise history in this league. Jeremy, what do you say?
I would have to disagree with Greg. The 15 Cinema Base versus the 14 Breaking Balls would probably be the best 2 teams. Well, I'm going to lead into it. The 14 Wiffle Ballers versus 15 Dixie. I would have to go with the Wiffle Ballers. I don't think the 15 Dixie would ever come close to the Wiffle Ballers because I played them and they split with us, and we always beat Whiffling Dixie by a lot. So, 14 Badgers versus 14 Green Bears. That's Badgers all the way. Black Sheep versus the Warriors. Black Sheep. Let's see. Asthmatics versus Terrorhawks. I really didn't get to see the Terrorhawks.
They're terrible.
They were terrible? Well, then Asthmatics it is. Wee Willie Wiffle versus the Turtles. Wee Willie Wiffle. Going back up to the top. Breaking Balls versus Wiffle Ballers. I would go with Breaking Balls all the way. Badgers versus Black Sheep Wiffle. Based on pitching, I would go with Badgers.
Well, it's different years of the band.
Yeah. Well, it's a 14 Badgers. So that's what I would go with. I would go with the 2014 Badgers. Maroon Squad versus Asthmatics. I would go with Maroon Squad because Asthmatics were very inconsistent. Wee Willie Wiffle versus 2015 Breaking Balls. That one's a lot closer. I'd probably go with Capra as the upset in that one. That's Wee Willie Wiffle over the 2015 Breaking Balls because Drew wasn't on point in 2015, while Capra had no offensive help. So I would go with Wee Willie Wiffle. 2014 Balls versus Badgers. I'd go with Breaking Balls over the Badgers. Lucky hit. If you take away Scala and Ryder, that's a good team. Maroon Squad versus Wee Willie Wiffle. I'd still go with Nick Capra and Wee Willie Wiffle. Then it'd be Balls versus Wee Willie Wiffle. I'd Breaking Balls all the way. So that's who I have on that side of the bracket. Beaver Fever versus Bag Tag. Badgers. 2012 Badgers versus 15 Wifflers. I'm going to go with the Wifflers. Holy Balls versus Owls. I don't know anything about either one of them.
The Owls was a spouse team of my wife and Greg's wife and another player's girlfriend, and then they only played 4 games. They went like 0-4.
Holy Balls. Chicken and Wiffles versus Terrorhawks. Chicken and Wiffles. Pink Penguins versus Poker Night. Poor Poker Night. I mean, that was just the whipping team. Going with Penguins. 2014 Sit on My Base versus Plain White Tees. 2014 Sit on My Base. All right, 2015 Sit on My Base. How are we in the same side of the bracket?
That's just the way the seats fell, man. I got the bracket made online. That's just how it turned out.
All right. Versus Bag Tag. We never lost a Bag Tag, so I'm going to go with 2015. The Wifflers versus Holy Balls. I'm going to go with Holy Balls on that one. I'm going to agree with you that the Holy Balls are going to continue. Beaver Fever, 2012 Beaver Fever versus Chicken and Wiffles of 2015. Now, who was on Beaver Fever?
What was the year?
2012.
That was the championship team. It was Greg and Kyle, and it was 2-player teams back then.
Okay, I'm going to go with Chicken and Wiffles. Penguins versus 2014 Sit on My Base. I'm going to go with my team still. 2014 Sit on My Base. So that leads us to 2015 Sit on My Base versus Holy Balls. I'm going to go with 2015 Sit on My Base. Chicken and Wiffles versus Sit on My Base. I mean, the only thing that we changed different last year, the previous year, was that we just added Dunkel and we got rid of Dorn and we added Patrick, and pitching was better. So I'm going to go with 2000. I agree. My 2 teams face each other. 2015 Cinema Base makes it to the finals of it, facing the 2014 Breaking Balls. Now, on a perfect day, really not a lot of wind, sunny, no mud puddles, no anything. Taking that team and pushing them back 3 feet, I would have to say that the championship game, would make it to 11 innings, and I really think that breaking balls might pull off the win.
You think the 2015 breaking balls are the best team?
2014.
2014 breaking balls.
Yes. I mean, they were able to do something that we weren't, closer, but we were able to do something that they weren't, further. I mean, it would be a good game. It could be a split decision. You can simulate that game 20 times or 21 times to where you actually have an all-out winner, and it would be right down the middle between the two teams. It's just I didn't know if he was going to start announcing. Okay, but I still think that it would be split. It would be split between the two teams, but that one's more of a toss-up. I would still, with the average that Drew put out there for his or ERA that he put out, that's the only thing that's going to save him. It depends on what size field we play on. If we play on 48 feet or 45 feet. If we play on 45, it's breaking balls. Play on 48, it's going to be sit on my base. So
the way Greg put it was whoever the higher seed was, that's the rules that we went with. So in this case, it would have been breaking balls, so it would have been 48 feet.
45, 2014 breaking balls. So it would be, if we're doing 48 or 45 feet, I would take breaking balls over sit on my base.
All right, thanks for your input, Jeremy.
Thanks for listening. That is all we have to discuss on the 20th episode of the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. Can you believe it's been this many episodes, Greg? Hopefully for 20 more.
It's probably been about 15 for me. I missed about 5, but
we're glad to have you back.
I was here in spirit.
We're glad to have Dream Team is back. So, next episode will be next month. We're going to be talking about the April tournament. Hopefully before the May tournament. Will be lots of exciting things to talk about. Signing off for this episode of the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Smith. With me, co-hosts
Greg Sowards
and producer
Jeremy Litton.
We'll talk to you soon. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, our website, www.huntingtonwiffball.com. Register to play in our tournaments.
Or else.